For more than 2 weeks, Sudan's opposition coalition has been holding talks here in Ethiopia to try to reach an agreement on how to form a transitional government with the ruling military junta. They signed an initial power-sharing deal in Sudan's capital Khartoum last Wednesday, but some members of the coalition say their concerns weren't taken into account.
There is actually disparity in the priorities. The priorities of those who are inside Sudan, not necessarily the priorities of the arms group. Priorities of the armed groups are four. One is how to stop the war, how to bring about the constitutional status of these areas, how to make amicable security arrangements, and at the end of the day, the issue of IDPs and the refugees.
For the past 18 years, the armed groups have been fighting the Sudanese government in the country's western, eastern, and southern regions. The wars have left nearly 500,000 dead and displaced over 3 million. After the ousting of longtime ruler Omar al-Bashir, the armed groups joined the rest of the opposition in talks with the ruling military junta. But despite the signing of a deal, the opposition is struggling for a united stance.
We understand the concerns of the armed groups in the coalition, and this is why we're here. We're seeking to accommodate it in the final agreement. We're aware that no agreement can stand without peace in areas where there are conflicts in Sudan, and the armed groups, they're part of our coalition and our partners in this revolution.
The final agreement, known as the Constitutional Declaration, is yet to be signed. That will determine the role of the various power structures in the transitional government. But the final agreement cannot be signed without armed opposition approval. And if that happens, there are concerns that the armed groups in Sudan will return to war. A concern so great for the parties and the mediators that the AU envoy and the Ethiopian mediators between the two sides have joined the consultations in Addis Ababa.
I don't think really something very difficult to not be solved very quickly between themselves. At the whole issue, what happened was very positive, and it was a tremendous progress. We are here to improve what was reached, and when we will be back to Khartoum, we will make things better and progress very quickly toward this signature of the final and inclusive agreement.
As talks continue in the Ethiopian capital, those back in Khartoum continue to pressure the military to reach an agreement that will mark the beginning of a new phase for Sudan without war or conflict. Hiba, Al Jazeera, Addis Ababa.